Trump spent the last days of 2017 at Mar-A-Lago on a working vacation. He'll ring in the new year at a party there, but 2018 will be off to a busy start for the president and his administration. On January 3rd, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer will meet with House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to discuss the 2018 agenda. Then President Trump will meet with McConnell and Ryan on January 6th to discuss his priorities. They'll likely discuss issues tied to the looming government shutdown. The government runs out of money on January 19th. As the year wraps, President Trump is also looking ahead to the 2018 midterms. The president tweeted this morning, "Why would smart voters want to put Democrats in Congress in 2018 election when their policies will totally kill the great wealth created during the months since the election?" He went on to praise his administration's efforts on terrorism, immigration, and tax reform. Former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci echoed the president's statement this morning on CNN. Here's what he had to say and more of what you may have missed on the Sunday morning talk shows.
You still speak to the president. How's he feeling about his first year in office?
Listen, I think the president feels great. I talked to him last Monday, and he's very happy with what happened as it related to the tax reform bill that was put in place recently. And so, listen, I think you got 2018 is going to be a big year for the Republicans. And because we both know, Dana, that the midterm elections for a first-term president always go to the other side. I think the president will surprise here by delivering very strong results alongside of the Republicans in the congressional midterms.
We're actually closer, in my view, to a nuclear war with North Korea and in that region than we've ever been. And I just don't see I don't see the opportunities to solve this diplomatically at this particular point.
Let's bring in Rachael Bade. She's a congressional reporter for Politico, and she joins us now from Washington. Welcome, Rachael.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. Let's start with the 2018 agenda. Congress is facing a partial government shutdown. Do you expect them to find a more permanent solution by January 19th?
Yeah, so Congress has been kicking the can down the road every 3 weeks, 4 weeks since September, just doing these temporary government funding measures. But Republican sources on the Hill do not think they can do that any longer. And the reason is because their defense hawks are getting really frustrated with this. They're appropriators who dole out the money for the government. They feel that it's irresponsible and doesn't help agencies in terms of their planning going forward. And there's a worry that the military won't be able to protect the nation because they don't know what their budget is going to be. So I do think Republicans want to find a more permanent solution, but they're going to have to work with Democrats, and that's the rub right now. You know, Democrats want to see increased spending for non-defense programs in addition to defense programs, and there's a big fight about whether those should be offset or not. How much money do you give the Democrats? Which priorities are included in here? And they've definitely got some work to do before January 19th.
So were those the biggest challenges then in getting there, as these disagreements you just outlined?
That's right. I think that the levels of spending is the first one. I think that Dreamers and what Republicans and Democrats are going to do about this 700,000 young undocumented immigrants who came here as kids and are now young adults. How are they going to address this? Because this program expires in March. Democrats want to see a solution before they back any long-term spending agreement. And so they are expected to take a very hard line in January in terms of withholding their votes until they get what they want on DACA. So we do think we'll see some sort of bipartisan movement potentially on DACA in January. Another thing to watch in these negotiations is what they do with Obamacare. In the Senate, Susan Collins, who is a moderate Republican from Maine, she received a promise from President Trump in the White House and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell that the next government funding bill will include subsidies, Obamacare subsidies. But that's going to be a problem in the House, where conservatives do not want to back any sort of legislation that can be viewed as propping up Obamacare. So that could also be a little tricky.
Well, with midterm elections coming up, President Trump has been vocal about his support for Republican candidates. How aggressive do we expect the president to be in 2018?
I think if it was up to the president, he would be out there campaigning left and right for Republicans. He loves a good fight. He loves to be on the campaign trail. He loves rallies. The issue Republicans are going to have is that not all of them can be seen with the president. There's about at least 3 to 4 dozen who could be potentially vulnerable, and if they campaign with the president, they could very well lose their seats to a Democrat, which would then flip the House from Republican hands to Democratic hands, which is not what Republicans want. So I do think you'll see the president out there campaigning for a bunch of Republicans, but it'll probably be the Republicans that don't exactly need help because they're already in a Republican solid red district, and they're already friends with the president.
Yeah, all right, remains to be seen. Rachael Bade in Washington, thanks and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.